Hello and welcome back to this video series on COVID-19 pandemic update. This is video number 6 and today's topic is about the antigen test versus antibody test. Several people asked that question to see what's the difference between these two tests and why this is important. First, let's take a look at the numbers for today. So this is the update at 8:45 p.m. April 7th. The total confirmed cases in the world is over 1.4 million with over 82,000 deaths and 301,000 recovered. Now if we focus on the recovered people, actually the rate of recovery is increasing. It's slow compared to the others, compared to the confirmed test, but it's increasing. It's in rise, slow rising. However, you should keep in mind that the tests and the news are focused on the number of confirmed tests and people who need hospitalization and they need ICU beds. So that's why the focus is not on the recovered people yet, but gradually it will go that direction. It doesn't mean we should not be aware of the total numbers and total death. We need to be aware of the reality. However, our focus must be on the 80% of people who get infected with the coronavirus, but they recover. So that's why it's very important to stay positive and hope for the best. Now let's go to the topic. Antigen test. What is antigen? Antigen is a foreign material, usually like a virus, for example, in this example coronavirus, that can stimulate your immune system to generate antibody against the virus or against the proteins of virus. The virus is an antigen because it can stimulate your immune system to generate antibody against it. The virus can be detected by a machine, by a technique that is called polymerase chain reaction, and for RNA viruses, for this case, for example, for corona, the technique used is reverse transcriptase polymerase chain reaction. Basically, the virus, the main virus or viron, is right here, and the RNA is inside this capsule or protein coat. When the membrane of this virus fuses with the membrane of our body cells, for example, like our lung cells, the RNA goes inside the cell and makes the cell as a slave to make protein, to replicate the RNA and the proteins, all of these proteins. Then the numbers of viruses can be increased dramatically and they burst up the cell and they go to other cells. However, our immune system just doesn't stay still. When the membrane of this virus fuses with the membrane of our body cell, like in this case, for example, lung cell, these spike proteins on the membrane of the virus can appear actually on the membrane of our cells. So our immune system can detect those infected cells and makes antibody against these spike proteins. And then when the balance is toward more antibody in our body, our immune system can detect the infected cells and they destroy them. So in 80% of patients infected with coronavirus, this is what happens. And then they recovered later. So now let's see what is antibody. Antibody is a protein that is formed by our immune system. And this part of this big molecule of protein is antigen binding region. It means this area recognizes and is specific to a specific antigen. For example, in this case, this spike protein. So this area can recognize, or this area can recognize the spike protein on the membrane of the infected cells, and those cells can be removed, can be deleted by our immune system. When the immune system our immune system has a lot of antibodies and it's pretty active, and the balance is, or the power or the strength is toward more antibody than more virus or more antigen, we can overcome this disease and we can remove the infected cells. Now, the scientists can, in lab, can produce proteins similar to these spike proteins. And then they can mix it with the blood of people. Those people who are recovered from the infection, they have a lot of antibodies in their blood. So basically, when we have this synthetic protein that is exactly similar to the spike proteins, and when we mix it with the blood of someone, if that person has antibody in his or her blood, they can aggregate it like this because they can detect the antigen, and they fix this antigen on this variable or hypervariable region. And then when they detect a lot of them, they can aggregate together, and this test shows it's positive. So the patient or the recovered patient is positive, so we know this person actually was recovered because he or she was infected like a few weeks ago, and then her immune system could make enough antibody to detect the infected cells and remove those infected cells. When there is no infected cells, so there is no virus in our body anymore, because virus cannot exist on its own. It has to go inside our cells to replicate, and that's how we get infected, and that's how the disease actually comes appear. This is the basic information about these two tests. Right now, most focus is on antigen test. So basically is on PCR, reverse transcriptase PCR, to detect the virus, the RNA of this virus. But we are moving toward this kind of test so we can recognize those people who are recovered from the infection, and these people can have green hats, so people know that, like the general population knows, these people are recovered, so hopefully they won't get reinfection and now they are okay to go back to work. And specifically, this is important in healthcare system because our healthcare providers like doctors and nurses and healthcare professionals in all levels, including first responders and so on, they are working in front line of this combat with the coronavirus. So it's very important to detect them and they can go back to work. And later on it's going to be available for general public, and those people who are recovered, they can go back to work. So hopefully this was helpful to you guys. I tried to explain it in very basic and plain language. So now you understand what's the difference between these two tests and why these tests are important in different stages of the disease. Stay positive, stay safe and healthy, and please subscribe to our channel and share your stories and share our videos with your family members and friends. You can comment on these videos and ask your questions and ask for your favorite topics. Thank you so much. Stay safe. See you on the next video.